Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Inworld Review. Except, it's not quite. We almost had to cancel this week's show because our guests had last-minute technical difficulties, which were just unavoidable. But then we realised we had our hypergrid happenings and a few events going on that we wanted to bring to you. So we're doing a mini Inworld Review. Inworld Review Light, as I guess is the way you describe such things. Although, of course, hypergrid happenings is sort of mini light. We will see. Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. You probably know that already. And for some reason, my lips have stopped again. You never know what's going on around here, do we? Wait, come on, lips, move, move. Oh, this is one of those days, when there we are, something's moving. Okay, right, and of course, I host this program. On my left is James Atloud, who's he does all our backstage production stuff, like fiddling with the cameras, the audios, helping me set up all the stuff that means that this is something more than a talking head show. On my left hand side is my official co host, which is Thurza Ember. So, welcome, Thurza.
Hey guys, nice to be here.
I actually just forgotten to say welcome, James.
I noticed, but yeah, it's good
This
to be
is,
here.
this is, this is one of those days, you see,
It is. It is.
we're a bit flustered at the last minute. And hello, dog, as well. I don't think he talks, but woof, woof. Oh, who knows? He heard me. I'm sure he did. Right. Okay. So, as I say, we haven't really got much of a regular show here for you, but what we have got is our regular section that we also cross-post to Facebook, which is called Hypergrid Happenings. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Thurza to find out what's on and where in Hypergrid Happenings.
Yeah, hypergrid happenings once again this week. It's all happening on the hypergrid. Loads of stuff, and in fact, much of it you'll be familiar with. But I've thrown in a couple of other events that you may not have heard of. And let's begin with this one. This is a very cool event.
Ooh,
It's actually happening later today. If you've ever heard of Minerva, she's actually a Norwegian singer. She became famous like around 2015 on YouTube and so forth, Instagram, singing covers of various songs. And over on Equinox Grid, later today at 3 o'clock Second Life time, you can hear a whole bunch of her songs and dance along. And maybe it's somebody new for you, so that would be a fun thing.
I should mention to listeners, by the way, who will see this tomorrow or later on Facebook, today's the 24th, Sunday 24th of September. So obviously this particular event is later tonight. Just thought I'd get that in. I've never heard of Equinox Grid, so sounds good.
Yes, so this is Sarah Aubrey's favorite singer, so that's why she's decided to have a tribute show all about Minerva today. And really worth going to listen. So if you're watching the show live now, this would be something you might want to do in a couple of hours. Next up, we have something that's happening all week long, and that is the OSFest, Open Sim Fest, as it's called. It's a jazz and blues era theme this time, and it's happening on its own dedicated grid. There's the name of the grid and all the details right there. It's just the halfway point, more or less, today. We have another whole week of events, including this, which looks like a lot of fun. This is also today, but much later. It's from 7 until 9 p.m. Second Life time. So that's in around 7, 8, 9
Yeah, when we refer
hours from right now.
when we refer to Second Life time, this is actually USA Pacific time. For any of you who are a bit confused on that front.
Okay, so it's a virtual vignette, and it's by, of course, Kim Starr from Kitely Grid. Everybody knows her, and she's made a New Orleans style build. You can only visit it when it's open, so I encourage you to go down there right at 7 o'clock Second Lifetime if you're interested and take a look. Kim is famous for making a lot of animish, so the whole build comes to life with animish, with particles, with just vibrant life all over the sim, which is in the style of New Orleans. And as you can see, that's on the OSFest regions called Hydrogen. So go over to OSFest with their grid, hit the welcome area first, pick up all the landmarks that are available. There are dozens of them, just leading you to all the various merchants, the exhibits, and to all the other stores and freebie areas that the grid has to offer. And then, of course, go and see this New Orleans build. It's really worth having a look at.
That's good.
Next up is on Pangaea Grid again, a place we've been to a bunch of times with the safari, and I'm sure everybody's been there. It's a grid that has a lot of art, and I'll be mentioning it again in a minute. They're having a lovely reggae rock event. As you can see, it involves Marlon, and it involves Putri Solo doing some of the singing. It starts at 11 o'clock. And this is on the 25th, so that's tomorrow. So I hope you get along and enjoy that. It's at Bourbon Beach, which is on the grid, on Pangaea Grid. Next up, of course, after that, I'd like to mention the safari, which is coming up on Wednesday. That's going to be to two fabulous destinations. One is on Bridgemere Grid, where we'll be learning about how dream grids work, and particularly learning about Bridgemere. And the other one is Luxor, which is on Wolf Territories Grid. And that's obviously the area of Luna Lunaria. So she's going to be showing us and explaining all the new beautiful textures and builds that she has over there. I'd like to also mention this. It's the Power Trance Fridays event, which is light, peace, and music. Who doesn't need that? And it's going to be on the Prana Mountain region. That's over on Alternate Metaverse Grid, of course. And there'll be music and just mere delights for everybody. If you've been having a stressful week, this could well be the place you need to go to get through that. And then finally, I'd like to mention another thing that is happening on Pangaea Grid, and that is Felix Ringtail. You may know her as Alpha Hour. She has her exhibition coming up on Friday. That's Opening Hands is the name of it, and it's on a grid of a region of the same name, Hands. It's Pangaea Grid again, so pangaeagrid.de:8002:hands, HANDS. And again, there'll be music with DJ Marlon Wayne playing that. So as you can see, this is another week full of events. Plenty to see, plenty of art, dancing, exhibits, entertainment, and adventure going on all over the hypergrid.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you have something that is artistic or adventurous happening on your grid. If you would like us to mention it on the show, whether it's a project, a party, an opening, perhaps you're teaching a class, and anything that's coming up on your grid, do let us know, and then we will mention it on Hypergrid Happening.
Well, yeehaw, as they say in cowboy land. I used to say it in Second Life. It goes with my hat, you see. If I say yeehaw, you can look at my safari hat, which is a nice little segue into Hypergrid Safari. Don't forget, Safari every Wednesday at noon Pacific time meets on a place called Safari Clubhouse region on, no, sorry, HG Safari region on OS Grid, which you can hypergrid into from anywhere in the hyperverse, as it were. Right, something we used to do, which I thought was always quite useful, but we haven't been doing recently because of time, is actually looking at safaris. So I think just to not take too much time, we're going to be very short today, but I thought, so we got something a little different. What we'll do here is we'll look at some pictures Thursday's actually posted on her blog here from the safaris during the week. And the first one here, Safari in the Den. You'll actually find the blog here at hgsafariblogspot.com. That's hgsafari.blogspot.com. And well, I'm going to let Thursday talk about this. We've got about 16 little pictures here to look at. So maybe I was there, of course, and I think James was too. But as the host, I think you're the one to talk here.
Well, no, I was going to ask James how he enjoyed wearing an elephant on his head for much of the event.
I loved it.
It was
fantastic. Yeah, and appropriate.
It's a charming little gift we got when we arrived, which was the elephant with the. There he is.
Here he is. Here he is. All life matters. Preserve the beauty of nature everywhere. I didn't see that tag over your head. That was nice. So another side of James, folks.
Yep.
With an elephant on his head, people will wonder what that meant.
Instead of me sitting on animals, I had an animal sitting on me.
Yes, I know, and you're the great hypergris sitter. So,
Sitting is my superpower.
Yeah, indeed.
It totally is. Yes.
It was very beautiful. I mean, it's
gorgeous.
Like wildlife safari. Somebody probably upstairs mentioned appropriate. The safari is coming to an actual safari sort of thing. Even the typeface is ours. Yeah, this is wonderful. It was sort of the pictures are great. You're a really good picture taker, Thursday. We show videos and things, but you can't. Still pictures, often capture the magic of things that video can't. That's great.
I thought Lavia did a really good job of showing us what is in fact a huge region with loads more that we couldn't obviously get to see everything, but she did a really good job of picking out certain things and showing them to us so that we could get an appreciation of what's on this region and of the message that she's trying to put across, which of course is so much of nature is in danger, as it said above James's head. We need to love it and preserve it. So the first thing we did was we went to the little museum she has set up, which gives a lot of context to everything else you see on the sim.
And you see us departing for that very place. So this is this the right shot? Yes. Yes. Oh, no, this isn't the museum, is it? Oh,
I think it is. Yeah, the endangered species.
Yeah, okay, we've arrived at the museum now, just not moving anymore.
And that's a picture of Lavia in the front there, wearing appropriately camouflage clothing.
Yeah.
And she built all of this, but as she mentioned during her explanation, she did get a lot of help from all kinds of people, including Roland Francis. So many people who make animation, make it so very well. And so we tried to list them all in the blog so that everybody gets the credit they deserve.
And there she is again in the center of the picture there. So, you see some of the safari crowd there. So somebody even managed to get a horse into the museum, if you look at
That'd be Whirly.
Yeah, Whirly Placebo. Yeah. Oh yeah, I saved up, of course. And
I just apologize for my cat who's trying to sabotage it.
I thought you'd gone quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yes, it's just one of those days, guys.
James.
Just one of those days.
Yeah, there you go. So what do you think of that, Cat?
Absolutely one of those days.
We do it better than you, Cat. Yeah, very good. So yeah, it's neat riding on the horse there. So that was as you can see, there's just signs by all these pictures, and about the oops. That's a bit. Oh yes, this is this is actually an Inworld sort of mini documentary film that they were showing there in the cinema bit, and there we are. Hanging around again. That's a long shot. Yeah, that is a long shot of the museum, isn't it? It's an angle. And we've moved out. After we actually nosed around in the museum, we decided to walk along the various parts of the greater grid and covered quite an area, actually.
That's right. And one of the great things was this system of teleports that Lavia has organized. so that you can walk. But if you don't have a huge amount of time, you can teleport and choose what to see, which is a great idea, because it really does mean that even somebody with limited time can still thoroughly enjoy it. And if you had the sounds on, I don't know about you guys, but I thought they were wonderful.
They
All
were
the
great.
noises
Yeah.
of the
Oh, yeah.
jungle. Yeah, really brought it to life. Wonderful.
Yeah, I often switch sounds off when I'm filming just because I want some silent film to run behind us if we do a roundup. But yeah, it was definitely moody. So, well, it's what you expect of a jungle or wildlife reserve, you know. What next? These trees are something else.
And she has some great content, and again, sourced from all over the place. And it's one of those examples of how OpenSim can be a wonderful community of sharing resources. You think of a project, you decide you want to build a specific thing, you contact other people, you explain what your vision is. They like your idea and they help you. And that's just such a lovely sensation,
Yeah.
the sharing and the sort of friendships that can develop from all over the world. So it's very beautiful.
Hmm.
And oh, we got another kitten. That's a dinky person. Well, do dinkies? Yes, I suppose they are
I
kind of.
think it's Beth, isn't it? It's Beth Ghost Raven came
Yeah.
as a dinky.
Indeed it was. Yes,
Yep.
I've seen it for a while. She was friend of me. And oh, that's a horse there. So I guess they get on. I'd like to see a dinky face off with a lion, but that's another matter.
Mm.
Yeah, moving on and talking. Oh no, hippos. Hippos. It's a little pond full of hippos here, and again, I just have to leave it to your imagination. The sounds here. Um,
And again, Lavia, she's really talented. The way she laid out her various exhibits here, it just made it very easy to film. Usually, making gifts of all of us is, I was going to say, a challenge, to put it mildly.
Mm.
yeah.
But it was the way she set this up. I love this one, and the one I think follows this one of the elephants.
Oh
They're
yes.
just such naturally beautiful settings. The way she has things organized, she really does have an eye. I loved it.
Yeah, that is good. They're just the elephants doing whatever elephants do in the distance there. It's a captivating picture. I mean, it's so many of them. I guess they go. Are they herd animals? Elephants?
Oh, definitely.
Very,
Very, very
very
social.
much. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we had two people from Africa with us, which was Sunshine Savannah, who lived in South Africa many years, and also, of course, the lovely Una de Calma Sala, the same thing, lived in Africa. So they had a lot to, contribute as far as saying how realistic it was, and they brought out all kinds of interesting new information. I learned a lot. I guess you guys too,
Hmm.
about what the animals eat and everything, and the wine they were talking about earlier. So yeah, it really felt
Oh
like we
yes.
went to Africa.
Yeah, the funny thing about that juice or whatever they made, that so the men take it to as an aphrodisiac or something, and then later on she was saying, "Well, that animal drinks it, and that animal drinks it," and I was thinking, "Oh God, we've got a lot of horny animals in this place."
Trust you, man.
Yeah,
Right.
trust me. Well, it's a nice
Lowering the tone once again.
tone indeed. It's called risque anecdote. We're talking
Okay.
about animals. Come on,
I
let's
like
move on.
I like that she
This,
modeled the fruit in the sim as well. That was great.
these are
She
great.
really, she really has done a
Yep.
wonderful job. This is only one part of the lions. There are actually other lions and hyenas.
Yeah.
Obviously, for anybody reading this blog, they will see that much of the dialogue that happened. Please understand, I do edit it. I edit it mostly if people are saying the same kind of thing over and over again, or there's a lot of hellos. But I try and leave in everybody's jokes as much as I can, unless they're off color, of course, and like Mal. we got him. But
It's
so it
funny.
tries to give you an idea of what's been said. But I would encourage people also to go and look at Jessica Pixel's made a
Yeah.
movie of the entire trip. So
Yeah.
if you don't really want to read and look at GIFs. If you'd much rather watch the movie, that's available on YouTube on her channel.
Yeah, she's made one for 2 weeks now. So it's well, you know what I'm like with interface showing and stuff like that. But it's actually a good record of the whole tour. And I'm looking at that. I took a bit of film, and the male lion, you can tell by his hairiness at the back there. When I filmed him, he was walking down these steps towards me, and then back, and then towards me again. So obviously, the positioning of these critters does actually change over time. So
And, the huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to make that happen.
yeah,
It's just massive. I mean, really, Lavia, that it's a labor of love. And Jessica too, it's a labor of love taking the time out to
oh
film
yeah.
us. So much appreciated all the way around. A lot of work.
Now this was an oddity. In fact, it was just a matter of walking into a cave.
Well, this really illustrates the fact that Lavia is interested in all nature, because glowworms, which is what this cave it has as its inhabitants, virtual inhabitants, if you will, are also endangered. So you have elephants and lions and bigger animals that we associate with endangered species, but glowworms too, due to light pollution, are
Yeah.
at risk.
Hmm.
So I think it's wonderful. She really has looked at the subject from all points of view.
I would never have known that. And we spent a while there, and you can see James there. And he has an elephant sitting on his head, but he is sitting as well. So it's a double sit job. Thank you, James.
Thank goodness my Star Trek pants are waterproof.
Yes. And the long shot finally it just gives you a whole that's a great shot too. It's you know, you don't care what might be in the distance or over the hill there. That sort of it's almost a panorama that includes the whole mood of the whole place, without seeing any close-up animals or anything. It just you know you can feel it. If that was that could easily be a photograph almost, you know, of a real life. Well,
Yeah,
a real life painting. It could be of
it was
the scene.
amazing, and I really thought we were moving from region to region, but my goodness, that was one area, and it was just so well laid
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Twisting and turning, as it were, and
Hmm.
find. I always like that. I always try to do a bit of that, you know, where you sort of got limited space, so you design things that you turn a corner and you're in a new world or a new space. A bit like the way you would design film sets, I suppose. You know, you've
Yeah.
got limited space, so you build the sets accordingly. Right. Well, the other trip we had was to Kitely, which is a very well-known grid. It's been there. It's got this marketplace and everything else. Um, by and large, oh, I
Yeah,
just
not a lot of pictures on this one. I'd like to apologize. I moved chairs. I'm having technical difficulties all of my own here today. So I moved chairs. I apologize to
Well,
James
that's all
if
right.
he was going for a
oh,
camera angle.
I was so busy looking at the pictures. I
I'm
hadn't
just
picked up.
avoiding the dog. That's what it is.
She's lying. Actually, it's my body odor, and she keeps coming.
No,
Oh
don't.
goodness.
Never would be. No, yes, these pictures are very limited. Obviously, they just show the quietly welcome area, various points of view. Because
Yeah.
really, we didn't go there to look at any scenery. We went there to talk to, one of the pillars, if you will, of OpenSim, of
Yeah.
course, Elon, and he just really was such a good sport, listening to all our comments and thoughts. It was a really interesting conversation. I think everybody got something out of it.
Hmm.
I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I felt like I'd met him for the first time, really, listening to him talk about his baby, which of course is the grid.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, he's been a phenomenal contributor, really. I mean, sort of, he runs a slightly different technology, of course, because instead of contiguous land space that we're used to in OpenSim and various grids and other platforms, each each simulation is a world of its own, so it's separate. You can't move from one to the other, but except by teleporting, and it means that when nobody's actually on a region, it can go into standby. It basically means it can go offline, but he has a system whereby if you come online to visit, or even if you own it or whatever, you go to a sort of pass over stop, and it's only a matter of seconds before the region you're visiting is up, and it then automatically teleports you on to the location. I mean, if people are already in the location, it's as quick as it is with any other grid. But that way of doing things is unique in itself. Not many other grids have got anything similar. And of course, Kitely founded its marketplace, which is the first real sort of virtual goods store in OpenSim. It's it's a commercial one, obviously, as is the grid itself, but it's it is unique. I mean, many people don't bother with commerce in OpenSim, but many do. They miss the fact that they haven't got a giant place to shop,
Yeah, and
or
artists can
unique
really
thing.
use it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of OpenSim. There's all kinds of approaches, and they're all equally valid, aren't they? It's
Yep,
great that we have these various options.
yep.
Um,
And we even have a
so
backup studio on Kitely, so
we do indeed.
one of our many, right?
Yeah, I think that's before Thursday joined us as a co-host, but we actually did broadcast from there for it
A few
wasn't that long,
episodes,
but
right, right.
yeah, a few episodes for sure. Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, to remember that Kitely, around this time of day on a Sunday, they have their community meeting, and anybody
Hmm.
is welcome to go along and join and learn more about Kitely, issues that are coming up, events that are coming up, and just generally share their experiences and find out the answer to problems if they have any.
It was always one like a standing joke on for the Sunday shows here. Was that as soon as I went on air, there was a message from Milan saying meeting. I
Meeting
don't get them.
time.
I don't get them with this avatar anymore. But it was quite funny for a while. So, just as you hit the go on air button, the one thing you know that's going to happen is Milan's going to send you a message saying along with a teleport or a taxi as they call them here. Right. Okay. Well, moving on. That was So it's been a while since we had some sort of safari roundups. I actually sort of had an idea of starting a sort of safari roundup show separate from InWorld Review, but it won't be for a while yet. But I don't know what anybody out there watching thinks about that. You might care to let us know. Now, the other big thing, of course, that's coming up is the Hypergrid International Expo. And it's we got a little clip that James filmed here, which is it's coming. It's coming. Look at it in all its glory. It's not moving yet, but never mind. Let's have a look at this, and then we can just give you a little bit more information if we can think of any. Oh, it's quiet, isn't it? Ah.
I'll get dizzy during the booth tour.
It's like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting dizzy watching it.
Hmm.
I have to take my hat off to James because I spent a couple of hours myself trying to film all the booths.
Yeah,
And boy, not easy job.
makes you realise just how many we got this year. Lots of them.
That's awesome.
It's a perimeter pathway that goes around 3 separate simulators, uh, coming to an end where the stage simulator is, of course.
There was Tosha.
I was going to say I spotted Tosha, the hair, can't miss
Right,
her.
right.
Oh, that's very good. Hip hop passages in the anti-polio writer. Right. Okay. Well, that's very good. Where are we? 2 weeks away, is it? So next week
Yeah.
is Cornwall, but the week after that, it
Yeah.
happens.
Do-
And
Don't
we're
remind me. Yeah.
yeah, um, it's a
Put
lot.
it this way: 2 weeks from now, we'll either be um, happily getting into the final part of the event, or we'll all be pulling our hair out,
Right.
one or the other. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be great. Everybody is working so hard. The artists are working very hard. The presenters all have some great information to share with us and some really interesting subjects. And of course, then we also have Cherry Manga has made a brilliant final extravaganza, if you will, for us up in the sky. And we also have Nick's Breen, who has made a really lovely dance hall for us for the Friday event. And so there's just so much happening. Lauren Tone has made a sound sculpture. We have work by Aziaz. Tina Bay has made like half a dozen really interesting sculptures that are in the park. So yeah, it's been a huge team of artists and creators all the way around. It's been great.
Yeah, and it's still 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
But it feels like we should be getting on air and doing it tomorrow to get it over with because there's so much, while it's still in our heads, but obviously it's going to be in our heads for a good couple of weeks yet. Well, I guess it's pretty much it for this week. It's not about a short show. We'll be back with a regular show next week. I think we're going to be. Am I right in thinking we've got okay, that new guy? We'll be looking ahead basically to the HIE, won't we, next week? Um,
that's right. M. Jannings, who's is
exactly.
going to join us on the show. He's been in Open Sim for many, many years. A good friend of quite a few of the artists and performers involved. So he's going to share a few of his thoughts with us. And so I think it'll be interesting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all works out as we get closer to the time.
Exactly. And just advance warning: there will be no Inworld review at all, not even a short one. The week after, because we'll be at HIE. We do actually have a stage there, but being as it's in foreign languages and things, we probably really take the hour break rather than do anything in English to fill the time. But we'll be obviously back the week after that. So we'll have back to the quiet aftermath, so to speak. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll have a retrospective all about it, but it's on the more serious side. The I mean, apart from the wonderful stuff we will see at HIE, which is an expo of art and interesting things, the use of virtual worlds like OpenSim for actual language training is a very big thing as well. It's something we don't really cover at this festival, but I would say to you, I mean, if you're listening to this in English and you don't know any French, you don't know any German, you don't know any Spanish, you don't know any French. That's the 4.5 days, so to speak. It doesn't matter because there's a group you can join which will contain translations of the body of what's being said in English. But more to the point, you may just find that by looking at the English version in text and listening to the people on stage in their own language, you might just get a sense of, I won't say learning the language, but it's come up with a few useful phrases, for example. You know, Open sim c'est bon.
Oh, no.
That can't,
Perfect.
that
That's
can't
all you need to know.
That's what-
Uh,
Shouldn't have had enough Francais trivia. But yes, I love the Cest Bond. Okay, that is it for this week, I think. I'd like to thank, of course, James, technical wizardry producer, sitter, endless
Sitter.
sitter.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, James.
Yeah, and thank you, Mal. It's fun to do this show.
Yeah. And thank you to our wonderful co-host, Thurza Ember. Thank you, Thurza.
Thank you, Mal. And James, as you can see, I need some lessons in how to sit properly. So if you could see me after the show, I could really do with a bit of an update there. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. Yep.
And thank you to Dog. You obviously do know how to sit. You've been sitting perfectly the whole way through, except when you were menacing Thurza. So thank you, Dog. No reply, of course. Okay, and I'm Mal Burns, and of course I'm signing off. We will be back same time, same place next week with your in-world review. And for now, I wish you all a very good morning, very good afternoon, very good evening, and a very good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. Ta-ta.